Hi guys, Mace here. Basically, just letting you know what's going on. Yeah, I have promised game footage on Rust Talk Radio a few times, but basically, I've just been lazy, pure and simple. As you can tell, I'm actually got a reason for being here. I've received some games from Bandai Namco Australia, who have been gracious enough to let me review some of their products. So basically, this is what I'm doing. This is the free form review style that you're so used to when I do comic books and movies and all that type of stuff. So there's nothing really difference between what I've done audio wise as opposed to I've now decided to put myself right here. I bring myself directly to you. Please understand. Yeah, okay. Milking some memes, that's not a problem. Basically, yeah, I have 3 games up for review this time around. I have been sitting on these for a while as I was hoping to get the record box that I'm looking at. Unfortunately, none of that has appeared at this point in time. So at this point, this isn't going to be one of my better reviews where I record, the big section of, hey, here's the review, and I have like video footage and still pictures or whatever I need to do any of this. This is me old schooling it, so to speak. So I'm going to jump straight into it. Basically, this is how it's going to happen. You're going to see the little graphic pop up here. It gives you an idea of what's going on. Like you see here, The Witch and the Hundred Knight, developed by Nippon Ichi Software, of course, published by Bandai Namco Australia. At least here it is. I believe it was a direct release from Nippon Ichi themselves. Everywhere else in the world, again, Australia being Australia the way it is. Witch and the Hundred Knight, JRPG, single player. As you can see, it's all said in there in the graphic there, $60. It is prices in Australian. I should have warned that. Basically, this is probably the first JRPG I've got my hands on in quite a while. I'm used to your Final Fantasy RPGs more than anything. So when it comes to this type of thing, yeah, I'm pretty old school, old turn-based mechanics and everything. But the thing is, this is a JRPG that's probably more akin to your Diablos than anything else. Very reminiscent of that sort of all on an angular plane type deal where it sort of it does weird angle. It does the whole Diablo 2 thing where the whole plane is like on an angle and you can see it, but it also does sort of a downward slope and all that type of stuff. But the graphical styling is very anime. Basically, if I'm surprised I'm going to describe it this way. Basically, if you are a fan of Imoto anime or Little Sister anime, it has that sort of styling to the characters. Lots and lots of very solid lines, very very angular in a lot of places. So yeah, that's basically what this reminds me of. Um, in terms of the game itself, besides being basically a fairly different style Diablo 2's, not quite dungeon crawler, I'd say, but the JRPG mixed with a dungeon crawler, so it's sort of weird to explain. Um, there's a bit of a story. Uh, you are the Hundred Knight. You're a demon, sorta, that's been summoned by a swamp witch to run around and get revenge or something. I'm still playing it at this point. It's a very long game, so for what you're paying, even Australian, $60 Australian, you're getting a very decent amount of gameplay. Um, you level up stats, weapons, pretty pretty fair cop type stuff. Um, the big draw for this that I'll say is the art styling, and the English translation is not so bad. It does have some punny moments, but luckily for those of you who are Japanese purists, as I'll say there, and I do so on the great relish, that you can change it to Japanese. But even then, the text translation of what you're getting is not what's being said. Funny thing, I had my friend Will here when I started playing it. He knows Japanese quite well, as opposed to myself, who's very low end on the Japanese knowledge scale. He's laughing along to the way the translations came out. Some of them are really good, others are really bad. But that's half the appeal of this game. This is one of those. It's not a great game, but it's a good game for the wrong reasons. um, Basically, your character gets really, really put down no matter what you do. Um, you will get sort of chastised and everything in this game by the witch quite often. Like I said, if you're a fan of Immortal style anime, this thing travels down that style of road, mainly because when you look at the witch herself, as you can see in the graphic, she looks very very little sister like, very childish. But you know it's like with witches in these type of things; they're not always going to end up being, you know, the swamp hag type deal. With this game, one game mechanic I reckon people should really keep an eye out for is the basically, I like to call it the invade or riot syndrome. Basically, instead of your traditional thing like Zelda has taught you to do, you know, go into a house, or pretty much any JRPG and any RPG made in history, really. You go into a house, you start rummaging through all the things, you start looking for money, items, all that type of stuff. This one, you don't. You either ask to be let in the house, and you get a yes or no, or you can, the other option is to kick the door in and take your chances. You get either one or two things is going to happen. Either on one hand, you're going to go in and it seems like you're beating the crap out of the people, and you get items, gold, whatever. The other option is they beat the crap out of you and kick you out of the house. So it's a very, very weird mechanic. Um, like I said, you know, it's not a great game. It's a good game. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Basically, yeah, this thing is one of those things that you might not jump at when it came out, but it's one of these, you sort of wait for the price drop, you wait for the reviews to hit, and then you jump into it. Personally for me, it's been a good little break from the more traditional Final Fantasy architecture. And yeah, I would recommend you get this. Americans, you're paying, I probably think, something around $30-40 for this. So by all means, go out and grab it. I believe it's up for download. It is PS3 only. I will mention that. The first couple here are actually PS3 only games. So go out and grab that. It's worth a play. Like I said, it's not something that you'd want to jump at straight away. Probably wait until a sale happens, then jump on it. That's pretty much the best recommendation I can give for this game. Now, the next one that I'm going to jump into is Jojo! Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Oh, this is this is going to be an interesting one. CyberConnect 2, who you might remember for the Hack Sign games, developed this. I believe they've also developed previous iterations of this game. I do remember that I was being told that there was one on the Dreamcast. So I can't remember if it was actually made by CyberConnect 2 or not. But again, info right here. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure is one of these weird mixes. This is something that has its good points, has its bad points. Basically, for those of you who do not know what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, basically, this is the story of the Joestar family and all the weird shit that happens to them. This game culminates, I think they said, it says in the press release there was 8 chapters with 40 characters. There are multiple iterations of characters, but it basically, you're taking the 5 main storylines. If you're watching the anime, we're currently in the 3rd arc, if I remember correctly. But in it, like getting down to the gritty of this one, fighting game, very weird. It's the think for those of you who remember good old Street Fighter 2, this is more akin to the EX series, where it's 3D models, 2D plane, but with a sidestep mechanic. So probably more Mortal Kombat 4-ish. The game is sluggish. I will admit that it is quite sluggish. Just trying to think. It's very Street Fightery, but it's also very slow. One thing I noticed was the characters are very slow to move, except if you can activate a run, you activate a run. All the characters have styles. Think of these as your isms from Street Fighter Alpha 3 type deal. You've got stands, you've got vampirisms, you've got, I know there's like 6 different modes. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. I just remember stand and vampirism because it's one of the Joestars has stand as default and Dio has vampirism as default. Spoilers for any of you who know who Dio is. Basically, with this Street Fighter style mechanics, leading all the way into like the old super meter style, you build up a meter up to level 3, and you can unleash a super move, which is this gigantic cinematic thing where you have like Joe basically doing his little punch, his little punch thing, or his familiar coming out. Later iterations has the familiar coming out doing it just beats the crap out of people. Every character is unique. I will say that. Like they all have their flair from the anime. Really is very on display here. With this is also where it sort of falls. The game mechanics being sluggish, slow responses, also very very old school Street Fighter. It's all the quarter circle, half circle stuff, but it's also very, very finicky. You have to really make sure you hit that down in order to get the move to work. So, in that vein, it's been a little bit of pain. You can combo, but not quite. It's more, again, old school Street Fighter, where it's a mistake to link in one to another. If you get what I mean, like combos were a mistake. Basically, people worked out how to go from A to B to C. Same type of thing with this. You can combo, but I don't think it's intentional. Problem that makes it a problem for fighting gamers. I don't see this becoming a tournament fighter. So many games these days have really taken on competitive, balanced gameplay. This thing is OP all over the joint. The commands are sluggish. The characters are sluggish. This basically is a fighting game player's nightmare. Uh, but here's the thing: if you're a fan of Jojo, which I am, I'm still watching my way through the animes. This will appeal, mainly because it's not often that you see a game like this pop up, because this thing has no English translation. This has no English dub. It is a straight Japanese with subtitles. It is old school. There is a campaign mode which takes you all the way through the arcs. Basically, that's how you unlock your 40. There is also another mode in there that is basically a straight campaign mode. I have yet to play that mode. However, there is a free update pack. Update pack 1 is free on the PlayStation Store from release. So that's a bit of a bonus there. So basically, my recommendation for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle is, if you're a fan of JoJo, buy it. Because frankly, you won't see these type of games again. You know, this thing took years to come out. JoJo's been around for a long time. As I said, there's been a Dreamcast version. This is the first time JoJo has seen a console release in quite a while. So support it, not just because you're a JoJo fan, but because personally I want to see, and I do apologize for this, I want to see stuff like this. For those of you who don't know what this is Gundam vs. Gundam Full Boost, Extreme versus Full Boost. Basically, this is Gundam mech battles on a large scale. Now, this copy I got from Japan. This is actually done by Bandai of Japan. Same thing, you know. I want to see more of this type of thing happening. I want to see games like JoJo, Gundam, and all that are straight Japanese, no having to wait for an English dub. Just translate the menus and get them out there. You know, that's what I like. That's what I want to see. You know, I don't want to have to wait around for an English dub to happen in order to get these games. And me, as someone who cannot read a lick of Japanese, I prefer to have an option, at least an option for English menus, or what this type of game has done, and actually it's received an English translation before there's even an English dub around, which is great. If you're a fighting game fan, though, you want to hold off on this. This is a bargain bin grab for you guys. This is something you get a couple of mates around, you have a couple of drinks, and you put this type of thing on. You know, it's silly, it's over the top, the visuals will have you laughing for hours. But you can't be a competitive fighting game player and get this. So if you're a JoJo fan, get a hold of this. If you want to support games making their way from Japan to the English markets, buy this to support it, to show that we don't have to have English voices in a game in order to get it done. So yeah, again, JoJo, great for people who know JoJo. Not so much for fighting game players. So finally, talking about a game that really needs no introduction. Well, I did. I'm done. No. Basically, Dark Souls 2 from Software. If you don't know what Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2 is, you've really been living under the gaming equivalent of a gigantic meteor for the last couple of years. Dark Souls is a game that will kick your ass several times over and have you begging for more. However, going from Dark Souls to Dark Souls 2 you really feel like it's a bit of a downgrade. It doesn't feel. It doesn't really feel so much of an improvement, but as a more entry. This is more. I hate to use the word forgiving in Dark Souls because it's not. If there's one thing that Dark Souls isn't, is forgiving. Basically, this game will not be as terrifying as the original Dark Souls or Demon Souls has been in the past. Um, but this thing is still worth the money. You know, this is a. If you don't own this, why don't you own this? You know, I played Dark Souls, didn't think much of it. I played this, I'm like, yeah, not so bad. But for those of you who really need a bit more in this, let me explain what Dark Souls is while you crawl out from under that rock. Dark Souls is a very basic hack and slash. Think Skyrim built by a sadist. That's the only way I can describe this game. Basically, you're a guy. I think you look at. I really skipped the story in this because to be honest, the story is irrelevant. You're a guy. You meet some people. You build a character. You go out into this world. You get your ass kicked. The end. Not really, but you go out into this world. You basically do your standard action RPG type stuff. You know, kill stuff, get loot, better items. You know, but at the same time, you have to learn patterns and everything. You have to learn, you know, when's the best time to dodge. Should you dodge? Should you block? Should you counter? Should you just run away like a bitch? That's Dark Souls. You know, the thing with this is the only reason why I say multiplayer in the players area is that multiplayer isn't like there's a PvP aspect. You can turn it off, but um, you'll always be connected in some way, especially in today's world of constantly online consoles. Like I had my PlayStation 3, obviously it's connected to the net because I got this via download. Um, I had players as ghosts running past my field of vision. I'm like, whoa, okay, uh, fair enough. Or you'd activate these little runes on the ground, and you would see what the players in that area have done to get around things. They'll leave signs or something, you know. But the thing is, the thing with a game like Dark Souls is it attracts trolls, but they do it so well. It's like they make it look like the next thing you got to do is jump off this cliff, but you don't want to jump off the cliff because it's not the way to do it. Um, like I said, this PvP aspect, I turn PvP off by default. I'm sorry, call me a Care Bear player if you want. You know, I really don't care. But PvP, forced PvP, to me is a bit of a pain in the butt because then you are inviting the trolls into your game. I don't like trolls coming to my game all the time. I'm here to play the game, especially when I'm reviewing it. Um, you know, getting my impressions and everything. Trolls just really wreck that timing, and they also take up a lot more time than they're worth. So with this game, I take PvP off and just have the little ghosty people running around doing whatever they're going to do. Again, Dark Souls 2. If you haven't got it, why don't you have it? This is the water cooler game of this generation. Like they said that about Skyrim. Man, I've heard more stories about Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls than I have ever heard from Skyrim. So definitely this is a must-own title. It's out Xbox 360, PS3, PC. You do not have any reason not to own this game in some way, shape, or form. Get it on Steam if you've only got a PC. If you have a console, you'll have either a PS3 or an Xbox 360. If you just own Nintendo products, well, that's your own problem. Sorry, enjoy your Wii U. So the other thing that I will say, take a look on YouTube for this one. A bit of a free shout out to Lance and Penny, who have also done YouTube videos where they play these games. And Penny, if I remember correctly, she's like 3 years old. Sure, not the type of game I'd really recommend for kids, violent games and all that at that age. No. But the thing is, she makes such cute comments about it that it is absolutely just adorable to watch. So go and just when you're done watching this, go up into that search box up there. Lance and Penny play Dark Souls 2, or Demon Souls as well, or Portal 2. So yeah, basically that's it for the games at this point in time. I'd like to thank Bandai Namco Australia for supplying these games to me. Without them, I'd have nothing going on this channel at this point in time. I'd also like to thank anybody who has decided to come along and check this out. This little trio of reviews. Usual forced YouTube thing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up or click subscribe. To be honest, the only thing I really want you to do, hit subscribe. If you want, share this out to your friends. This is an independent production. I source all this stuff myself, trying really hard to build the connections and everything. So, with that said and done, thank you very much for sticking with this method of reviewing that I'm doing. I promise a bit more professional quality reviews in the future. I can record PS4 footage now, so hopefully my next review will actually be a lot better than this. So until then, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and by all means, subscribe, share this, feel free to leave a comment, tell me I'm shit, change your shirt, fatty, whatever you want to say. If you want to be negative at me, be negative at me. If you like this stuff, please tell me that you like it. Again, I'm rambling, so before I ramble too much, I'm going.